Peace, 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 power, soul, and activation. This is the Next Nuclear Radio Show. I am your host, Zireus Razus Anuclear, leader of the United Nations of Next Nuclear, leader amongst other leaders here in U.N.O.N.C. FUTURTARIANS. Moving forward, we are extending the activational intelligence from the upper and outer dimensions, from the highest dimensions upon this earth in this solar system, as we begin to extend our vibrational solargy throughout the galaxies and throughout the cosmos and beyond. So moving forward, again, we're going to keep extending this activational intel. We are coming to you live from Paradise, Las Vegas, Nevada, here on PODBEAN. Again, this is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, bringing forth next nuclear ideas and conversations. So again, we're going to keep on aligning. Like I said, our minds, our antennas, just again, our future focus on, again, evolving the planet, but ultimately, again, evolving ourselves by way of the synergy, or like I said before, the future word for synergy is solargy, our solargy that has brought us together, our energies, our souls, us being real people, being real, authentic, neutral energy, that soul energy. Again, we only are going to gravitate and collaborate and unite by way of, again, that soul energy and that, pure energy, that neutral energy coming down to the planet and pushing us forward and activating us forward, because again, it's only going to activate the right ones who do have those pure souls, who do have, who are tapped into that raw natural intel that's coming down to the planet next now. So I'm sharing this all over Facebook, and all over YouTube. So not going live, we're tapped in, mind, body, and soul, because we're in the future. We are the future. Futuritarians moving forward. And again, we extend the invitation to, all other futuritarians or all other ones who see themselves being a part of the collective council, ones walking over ones, as we begin to portal upper and outer dimensionally as this collective council. Because again, we're portaling one-on-one with our higher selves. So yes. We're going to keep extending the activational frequencies to, like I said, our right people of the 200 Rising. Again, hashtag U.N.O.N.C, hashtag Futuritarians, hashtag 200 Rising, because again, we are the ones walking with ones. 1111 moving forward. 1111 moving forward, because again, we have been continuously portaling with our higher selves in these upper and outer dimensions. So again, with that being said, we've come today on this very, very high energy day. Today has brought forth a lot of energy. If you've been noticing a lot of shifts and so-called changes in your environment, or just around, looking up, because when you're looking up, you're going to always see these shifts coming and taking place, dealing with the cosmic energy and dealing with the celestial bodies that are above in the upper and outer atmosphere, or the upper and outer extended spaces, representing the again, lower to upper atmosphere. So again, we're seeing these shifts. So I actually shared a video to the brothers of Futuritarians here in U.N.O.N.C. I shared a video to them earlier dealing with like the moon and the sun, basically explaining the whole magnetic process, or that magnetic repulsion and propelling that causes the winds to take place down in the lower planes down here. So the movement and the shifting of the celestial bodies, the sun and the moon, around the surface of the earth ultimately are causing the winds to, and it was very, very windy. I mean, it was extremely windy, so windy earlier out here in Las Vegas, because again, we're higher up in the upper and extended atmosphere. So we're up here I'm seeing a lot of shifts, like the moon seems a lot closer. Again, the sun is putting out next level energy, or these CMEs, again, as well as this magnetic push and pull of these different celestial bodies, and as well as us. We do have an effect on the different, the movement of these celestial bodies too, because again, our energy, in collective, what you say, frame, or being on that one accord, we can shift the sun or pull the sun closer. We can, what you say, pull that moon closer or push it further away based on our collective magnetic pull. So again, peace, power, and soul and activation, brother Cosmo. Again, we're moving forward and extending again by way of these activational frequencies and rays coming from the sun and beyond the sun. This is the Next Nuclear Radio Show, bringing forth the next nuclear ideas and conversations to you, to all other Futurtarians, near and far. Because again, in this time, we must come to the table and move things forward. We must come to the table in these times to move things forward. That's why, we do have these so-called these radio shows, or these times where we're going live and talking, but we're more so figuring out and trying to plotting our next course on to navigate in this dimension, in the physical, to actually bring forth and extend the world, like how we've been saying. So yes, furthermore, we're going to keep moving forward by way of today's topic. Today's topic is a sharper perspective on the future. A sharper. Thank you. So a sharper perspective on the future. So again, we are the Next Nuclear Radio Show as a collective. We're moving forward by way of, again, our collaborative collective council and extending these activational frequencies. So again, a sharper perspective. So what my interpretation of a sharper perspective on the future ultimately is just more, we talked about extended clarity, but just more so realizing that the only thing that will move this planet forward is the collaboration or the cooperation of the right beings who are in that alignment with the soul, with the sun, and with all these other extended energies coming down from beyond this realm as we are talking right now. So our sharper perspective, or our sharper point of view on the future, ultimately is only going to become more and more extended. Like I said, sharper perspective, ultimately just way more clarity, but at the same time, just the energy that we begin to not conjure up, but we begin to build up by way of just again our alignment to connection. And the more that we move forward with this alignment of connection, it again will allow us more future intel. It will allow us more future intel to tap into and capitalize off that. Again, we're capitalizing off the activation, because again, that's going to move us forward. We're utilizing the energy for the reason it being here. The energy is not just here just to sit here and not be tapped into. So we're tapping into that that next intelligence and next nuclear energies that are going to push us forward. And again, our perspective only will be become more and more ingrained, as far as, just like I said, our perspective or our foreseeing of the bigger picture. And again, while we're here, while we're collaborating, while we're in a collective, because again, that's why that sharper perspective has come to us and only a select few, because again, everybody wants to be on that individual mind frame and that individual frequency. They want to be on the isolation frequency, or that I would say more or less like they're more so wanting to take on this whole big ass world and try to take on the cosmos, galaxies by themselves, when it would be logically more easier to just come together in the council and again bring forth the ideas that are our future and going to move the planet into a future state, far beyond where we're at right now. So a sharper perspective ultimately in these days, like we've been saying before, only comes by way of just again the discipline, self-discipline, self-intelligence, by way of portaling 101 and being able to clearly see, because again, we're not putting our antennas in books. We're focusing again our minds, our antennas, our intelligence, more so on the extension of upper and outer, and trying to get out of this place, because again, we figured the things out. We figured it out as far as what we have to do to move next. There isn't anything next that information could do to extend our mind, body, and soul forward. So that's why that sharper perspective of just more so, again, moving forward, and, we're comfortable what we're doing, and that's evolving. You have to be comfortable at evolving and not being comfortable being stagnant. So that's why we have, again, let go of, again, the, emotional baggage, the, having to be prideful, and having to, again, let everybody know, hey, I'm this nigga, I'm the man. No, we don't have to boast and be gaudy about what the one frequency has done for us and what it's going to ultimately do for a lot of other ones who will align their mind, bodies, and souls to that one frequency. So again, we see everything falling into place, or rising into place. Excuse me. We're not talking about declining or falling, but we're seeing everything rise into place, go into place, move into place, move forward into place. So right now I'm sharing it on YouTube right now. So yeah, say not going live. We're not going live on Podbean. Again, this is the Next Week Radio Show. We're tapped in. Again, we're not your traditional radio show where we're playing. This is what you say, talk radio. So we're talking, and again, we're not trying, but we are moving things forward on the planet. So again, today I have brother AF1 with me live. Check him out on his channel. Brother AF1's channel is named FUTURTARIANS Activation Channel. Again, FUTURTARIANS Activation Channel. So check him out. So yes, let me finish sharing this 1 second. So yep, again, the future is amongst us. You are talking to the future. You are actually hearing the future, bring forth what you say, next intelligence, or that's next tell that I spoke about, or that we're always talking about as far as a collective council. We're talking about bringing forth what's next, focusing our minds, bodies, and souls on what's next. So, yes, what you ask people, what are their mind, bodies, and souls, what's their mind really focused on in these times? And a lot of people that, I've talked to or I've been around, their minds are not on the future. They're still caught on worldly things. They're still focused on, again, people's opinions, trying to be validated by somebody who, again, who doesn't really, understand and mega stand where we're coming from as these future beings, because they're past and present. So we had to we put the past and present world on pause and the internet on pause, because again, we're bringing forth logic and rational thinking and next conversations and ideas to move the world forward, to move, the golden beings, the activated golden beings forward. We're moving not just golden beings, but we're moving forward the activated golden beings as these guided luminaries, because again, the stars are what are guiding these lesser life forms, the humans. And again, we have to step through these gateways, those stars, those portals. So again, we're on a whole different frequency, because again, we're focused on getting through them and tapping into them. Most of these people out here are focused on trying to understand what they are, the purpose of them. No, we understand and mega stand what we have to do, and that's keep on dimensional leaping and keep on soul dimensional transferring, or what you say, extending by way of, again, that alignment connection into the future. So yes, furthermore, brother AF1, you can tap in whenever you want to tap in, but we're going to again keep moving the planet forward and keep, again, our minds focused on next, focusing on the extended future, focusing on, again, why our sharper perspective, or why we have that sharper perspective, or getting more and more extended clarity in these next days. So again, brother AF1, peace, power, and soul. Focus.
Peace, power, and soul. A sharper perspective. Everybody wants to fit in. Everybody wants to fit in somewhere. Just look at the world. Just look at the world. Just look at the people that's walking on this crust. Just look at them. You scan them. Everybody wants to fit in somewhere. Where is that? Where are you going to fit in at? If you're somebody who wants to fit in to what's popular, then you're going to go to what's popular. If you're somebody who wants to fit in where, people are talking about clothes, designer clothes, they're talking about the next car that came out, the 2022's coming out. And, if that's where you want to fit in, whatever floats your boat, everybody wants to fit in somewhere. Everybody wants to be a part of something. Right? But what you're going to be a part of? Right? Thinking sharper. If you're thinking sharper than the people around you, then there's really nowhere to go but to the source. So fitting in is just like, I was talking to the brother today, and it was just like, people do certain things just to get validation, or to make somebody else feel comfortable, even when they don't want to do it. They still will try to feel comfortable. Just like he was talking about today, we was talking about the brother was talking about um, having a Christmas pool or something like that. And it was so funny because I'm like, man, half the people that are in that environment, man, they don't really want to do it anyway, but they do it just because they want to fit in. They want to fit in. They want everybody to not actually accept them for who they are, but accept them for the present time of where they're at in that present moment. Everybody wants to be a part of something. And if you have a sharper perspective, especially on the future, then you need to be around people that thinking about the future, people that are from the future. Everybody thinks that, not everybody, but people always think that without validation that, they think it's like a spook god, or, something that really doesn't, resonate to their mind at that particular moment. But either you're going to move forward or you're not. Because look at the world. Just look at what's going around. You got, like I said before, we was talking about when I said wait till the next rapper die. And then you got a rapper from Memphis that just passed away. And it's like, because it's so funny, like it's getting to a point where these people that are in power at the moment, they already don't even have to pull too many strings no more, because when you're dealing with the mint, the government, when you're dealing with the mint, now they're controlling the mind. So they just have y'all do it for them. They just have these people do it for them, causing confusion within their neighborhoods, causing confusion. It's like, if you want to be a part of that, or if you want to raise children, because it's so sad, because when you're dealing with the children, having a sharper perspective on the future and moving forward, the children, you might have good intentions for your child, right? You have good intentions for your child. Not even good intentions. You have extended future intentions for your child, but then you still playing that merry-go-round music. What's a merry-go-round? It goes in a circle. You're still playing that music, but then you're telling your child about going to college, being an entrepreneur, being independent, all that stuff. But in the future, that don't mean nothing. That really don't mean nothing now in the present. That don't mean nothing now in the present. Independent mind frame, all that is a setup for destruction. Like they made that song way back in the day, self-destruction. Yeah, self-destruction. You had it for self-destruction. Because that's why when people push that self, oh, I don't need nothing. I don't need nobody. This and that. Yeah, you fine, because everybody is living in a modern society, a modern world. So that's why when people say that stuff, because you already know you can go to the grocery store, you can go to get you a job, or you can run your own business, this and that. But it's the people that you have around you, the people that you're gonna build, that's gonna help your children not be caught in the loop process, caught in the meta. Because Meta's coming. Actually, Meta's already here. Meta's been here. So when you're dealing with the future, you see, that's thinking about the future. The future is not about what you want for your children. When you're dealing with what you want, you have to build your children up to actually put them in an environment and put them around people that's actually thinking, that's on your level. Because when you got social media out here, you got phones, you got children, they get easily manipulated, especially at certain ages, dealing with the teenage age, then going into college and whatnot. So it's just so sad, because I see these children around in the public all the time, and it's like, you already know that their parent is actually not raising them to be futuristic. They're raising them for the now. Then now somebody steps on their shoe, they want to get in a fight. You done bought some new Jordans, somebody done stepped on your shoe, and all of a sudden you sitting in jail for 30 years because it escalated into some type of aggravated assault that turned deadly. You know, this is the stuff that we're dealing with in the African American communities. They don't have a sharp perspective. A sharp perspective is avoiding a situation unless it really needs to be addressed. That's having a sharp perspective. You avoid the situation unless it really needs to be addressed. And if it needs to be addressed, then that's when you go 110%. But if it doesn't really need to be addressed, if you're dealing with verbal words that are really not consistent, because you got people that are a nitpick with you and just keep picking on you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about first time confrontations, right? The first time confrontation is like, if this person's not a physical threat to you, especially if your mind is already extended and activated, how's that person going to be a mental threat to you? They're already not going to be a mental threat to you. So now if they're a physical threat, then you might have to go 110% on them and just put them in his place. And I ain't even finna go on all that. But the whole point I'm making is, there's a time and place for everything. There's a reason why you push the button and you don't push the button. And when you look at the stuff that's going on, because they don't have that sharp perspective on life, they can't see, they don't have tunnel vision. They're everywhere. Their head is always on a swivel. It's always on a swivel. What is the swivel? The circle process. Your mind, you're on a swivel. You're looking, because you already know how you are. So then when you put yourself in that predicament and something happens, somebody gets killed, aggravated assault, stuff goes south real quick because you don't have a perspective. You know, you're not around people that's on your mind frame. Even if you at conscious and woke. If you at conscious and woke stage, I don't even really talk about religion no more, because the realignment of legions, religion, I don't even talk about that anymore. But if you at conscious and woke and you're not around people that's at least on your level, but then what happens? The gumbo pot, they start going back and forth. You know, they start going back to they old mentality, and then now they're at their conscious mentality. You got to have a one sharp perspective, just going like a laser beam, man. These people that are around you, they mean nothing. When you're trying to be a caterer, like these teachers is caterers, they cater to people who have a high mental illness, dealing with the high mental illness is dealing with 3, 4, 5, and 6. See, those people can easily be manipulated. And see, these cats that's down here that's teaching, they know that. They know what they want to hear. They know what they want to be catered to. They want to make people feel good for that moment and really not even build nothing. They're not even really building. They talking out the side of their neck, because this is the sad part about these people on the internet that's teaching, that so-called golden beans. They always think that money is going to do it, and money's not going to do it. That's been proven year after year, decade after decade. Money is not going to build the future. The only thing that's going to build the future is mind power and surrounding yourself with people that's on your frequency, your mind frequency. Because if you out here and you trying to teach, and your children is going to be lost, and in the future they're going to be thrown to the wayside.
Yep. That's why when you said there is a high mental illness, that high mental illness is belief. Belief is a high mental illness, because belief had generations on generations on generations looped mentally, body, physically, and soulfully, looped in here, looped back in its physical realm, and not being able to expand mind, body, and soul into a more advanced state of thinking, seeing, and focusing on, again, further evolvement. So a sharper perspective in these days ultimately comes from, again, your discipline and your self-alignment on, again, your future, as well as, again, you realizing that if you are a one in these times, and again, you can't be around these zeros, because again, you ultimately are, in so many words, when you're dealing with a bunch of zeros, you ultimately become that next zero, because again, you are catering, or ultimately trying to, again, be around, or trying to manipulate, zeros based on, again, whatever, sadistic or, whatever, reason being. But like I said, we move beyond that. Me and Brother F1 have been saying this for a while, but we move beyond the whole ones and zeros because, again, we've continuously, since we began talking about what you say, the further evolvement of ones walking with ones, again, we've since overwritten that 3 algorithm by way of overriding it with the 4 format. And again, we're moving forthright and extending our mind by itself forward.
Right, having a sharper perspective, man. There's somebody right now. So when you're dealing with the minds being so tainted, these minds are being tainted, man. They're so tainted. There is a family right now as we speak. There's a family right now as we speak, looking at some brother laid out on the street with his head blown off right now. And see, people don't understand the simple effect of one death. One death is a domino effect. Especially, I just saw something on the internet today. It was a whole bunch of, I'm assuming there were Bloods because they had a whole bunch of red on. They had red bandanas hanging out the pocket and were carrying a casket into the hearse. And, they were trying to give that person respect, but it's like when you live that lifestyle and you don't have a sharp perspective on what's going on around you, and when you live that lifestyle and then something happens to you, there's no reason really to mourn. Now, I understand if that was your father or if that was your mother or if it was somebody your closest kin. I understand all that. But I'm just talking about the people in the neighborhood, the people that's in that community. There's no reason. That's why when that stuff happens, it's like it's not a surprise to us. It's not nothing to get emotionally attached to it, because 9 times out of 10 or 11 times out of 10, there's going to be a situation at hand when next thing you know, you check this brother. He didn't have that sharp perspective in life. Next thing you know, you run his background check. He got aggravated assault, strong arm robbery, then did 12 years. I'm not talking about everybody who passed away like that, but then it's a lot of brothers that it's like, so, I mean, what's the really purpose? I'm like, when you was little and you touched that stove, you seen that little red heat going up in there, and you touched that stove and you're like, what the? And your mom's like, yup, bet you don't touch it next time. You got to have that perspective in life. Just dealing with the people around you, right? Because, going past quantum physics, because you got ones and zeros. It's all galactical code systems. You go past that, you override it. How do you think that if a computer is made by organic intelligence, why can't the organic intelligence override the computer? It is possible. It can go past the computer, because that's the thing about being limited on moving at the speed of light. This 3D realm cannot move at the speed of light. That is a code that's been locked. The portals have been locked because people don't think with a sharp perspective. Why waste your time dealing with these people if you're a futuristic being? They're not going to deal with you because you're a waste of energy. You're a waste of space. You go around people on a consistent basis, not even just dealing with regular life. You go around people and you put your energy towards people that are not in the future. That says something about how you move. How you move, who do you spend time around to move yourself forward and help your children? Because as you start being around people that's futuristic, do you know that goes into your mind? And then that will go into your children. It will actually activate your children, because if you spit out one child and that child don't get it, either that child's children is going to get it, or that grandchild or somebody's going to get it out that bloodline, because you put your life into this. This is not a game. This is not a joke. This is real. Having a sharp perspective on everything that's around you, these people, dealing with, if you work a job, if you're still working your regular job, dealing with those people there, dealing with people when you go to the gas station, dealing with people when you go to the convenience store, dealing with these people, because the regular people that's around here is, I'll go back to the Matrix, the movie The Matrix, when Neo was walking around, and they would walk around and they seen all these regular people, and then all of a sudden it was the agents will pop up, you know, because there's agents out here. It's so funny because I just said, see, I would tell you, Zareas, I'm gonna tell you in the chat room, but it was just, it's a teacher out here right now, and it was so funny because I was talking to this other brother, and we already knew he was an agent. That's what the funny part, that his other brother from the East Coast was like, yeah, he an agent. We already know that because we activated. That's what I'm saying. We know who's the agents and who's not the agents. We've been doing this. Y'all think we talking out the side of our mouth, and we're not. That's why I said you come over here, be humble, because it don't matter if you an agent or not, because we gonna know. See, that's dealing with organic cyborg. We just scan you. Just like when you go into the grocery store and you grab that barcode, the mark. What is the barcode? It's all ones. Just like Zareas broke that down last week. The barcode's all ones. Dealing with the 1111, the galactical code system. The ones walking through the portal. What's the two dots? The portal. What's the other ones? The other ones on the other side, the future ones being tapped in. That's why when you boop, just like when you go to the grocery store and you just boop, boop, boop. That's how we do these teachers. We just scan them. We already know if they're full of crap or not. Trust me, we know. We know. That's why I said, man, there is nothing else on the planet. There is nothing else, man, when you're dealing with futuristic and you're dealing with your future seeds, with your future children coming out those wombs. Them future souls coming through the portal. Future souls coming through the portal. Why would, if you may think about this for a minute, you made the whole universe, right? Why would you even, if you wanted to come back here in a 3D body, you don't even need a spaceship. Why? You're already manipulating atoms, electrodes, electrons. You're levitating stuff. Why would you need a spaceship? That's why the Bible's so funny when they said 200 billion spaceships is just going to come out the sky. I'm like, dude, because when you're dealing with this reality in this day and time, and this universe is, I mean, not this universe, this planet is 9.999 billion years old behind in technology. Going back to the 13, breaking down the 13 colonies, 13 bloodlines, 13 billion years, 13 light years. You think this is a coincidence? You think this 13 just popped up out of the air? Because we're moving into the 14th billion year, which is the 14th light year. So everything's being played out. And now when you're dealing with futuristic souls that came through the portal, because now it's going to start moving forward. Everything's going to start speeding up. It's speeding up right now. And I'll be talking to the FUTURTARIANS and people just can't fathom. I'm talking about teachers. I'm not even talking about people that's out here just conscious and woke. I'm talking about people on the internet teaching can't even keep up with this stuff. So that's why we're just going to keep moving forward with the 1111. And that's also dealing with the barcode system.
Yep, that's also dealing with that, with, like you said, the barcode system. I was saying before, like how once our DNA evolved into DEA, that's when we turned from being ones and zeros or being tens into 11s, and our DEA makes us 11s because, again, our DEA can be registered and scanned by the sun and all other stargates, all other portals that will allow us to walk through and ascend through and extend to mind, body, and soul.
And we got the ABC 7 show said he wanted to call in. I don't know if he's still online or whatnot, if he got any questions.
Okay. I'm gonna see. Invite the speaker. But ultimately, yeah, I just send them an invite ultimately. And we'll see how that goes. But moving forward, a sharper perspective on the future comes by way of, again, our alignment. And like I was saying before, us being able to, our DNA evolving from, it evolved into DEA, which means ones walking with ones, walking with, ultimately 11 being our, our makeup. And moving forward, we move past the ones walking with zeros or manipulating zeros in that case. And since we evolved past that, that's why the sun has been able to register us or basically, scan us, and we can actually walk through these portals. We can actually send our souls. We can cast our souls through these portals right now, like a flashlight. We're up there sparking or casting light, projecting light upwards. That's why we're in the future, because again, everything is like I would say like a one-way. I would say once we move past the third dimension, the fourth dimension acts as a one-way mirror or a one-way portal, pretty much to and forth to the lower dimensions and upper dimensions. So once we begin to extend further, our minds, we've already extended to the fourth dimension and beyond that, because again, this intel that we've been receiving, and not transmission, but intel we've been receiving, has ultimately given us that sharper perspective, extended clarity, and again that brighter focus, or that more sharper focus on what really is important. Again, this nuclear family, our nuclear collaboration as a collective council, in focusing on the newborns. Brother Elvin brought up the whole we were talking about the newborns as far as like us being able to focus more on them. And I was saying to him actually earlier, I was talking about homeschooling my children. Once I have children, I'm talking about homeschooling them, and basically having them more around what you say ones, because why would we as ones put our children out amongst zeros? That would defeat the whole purpose of us evolving forward. That would keep that cycle going as ones messing with zeros and so forth. So again, we have to surround ourselves, or we have to come together as a collective, in which we have started right here as Futurtarians and U.N.O.N.C moving forward. We formed this.
Right. Just like the books, there's certain books that the future children over here are going to be reading. And, that's why I said, man, digging through the archives, if you don't know which books those is, then there's only certain books. There's not a lot of books that they need to be reading and need to be studying. It's not, this is not, that's why when you're dealing with the school system and how everything, so once you get to, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, college, high school, whatnot, you notice everything gets confusing. Is because what they're doing is they're just looping everything, going back to meta. They loop everything. It's, instead, like I always use this example, instead of, all right, if you building a house, right, instead of you just actually just measuring everything up and then just doing square footage, right, you got to throw an X and a Y up in there and put algebra up in there to do what? To make it more difficult for you to do basic stuff. All this stuff is just basic math. So that's what the school system was placed here, to have you overthink and actually try to burn out your mind, because of, if you're not a receiver and you're not receiving intel on what's next, then basically, if that's what you want to be a part of, because like I said before, the first ones on the planet will be the last ones to leave. And that plays a big factor on to see where people are at mentally, because you just got to see where they at mentally. If they, because everybody that's on the internet teaching, I'm not even exaggerating. They always have to go back in the past some way, somehow. If they're dealing with if they're dealing with the libraries where the lies are buried, they should call it the lie truth berry. That's what they should switch it to, the lie truth berry, because that's what it is, because it got lies and truth in there. Got both. But in order for you to get the truth, you got to get the lies with it. So what does that cause? That causes confusion on consistency. There's no consistency. See, all this stuff has been orchestrated, man, for a long time. A long time. Now we back from the future and we telling y'all how everything is. In the books that your children need to be reading, you ain't gonna know unless you over here. It's just that simple. It's just that simple, because we're not wasting time with people no more. Like, either you're here or you're not. There's no teeter-totters. There's no going back and forth. This is not church. You can leave church for 8 months, and then you try to come back in the door. They bring you back in, because what they want them ties. Why? Because when you pay your tithes, it keep you tied in there. That's why it's called tithes, because it keeps you connected. It keeps you in that knot. It keeps you in the, what is a shoelace? When you tie your shoelace, what symbol is that? That's the meta. It's the meta symbol.
Yep.
Going back to church, your ties. See, this is all galactical code systems. See, when you're dealing with the galactical code system, everything is going to get put on the forefront dealing with numbers and codes. That's why when it came out with the Matrix, they had to put, when they were uploading everything into Neo's mind, they had to put a code system in there to upload his next when he was fighting Morpheus, they had to keep uploading them. You know what I mean? But see, that's going back to church. Ties, right? That's why you tie your shoe. It's a meta sign. It's hold up, this thing is tripping. My phone's tripping. Yeah, it's a meta sign. And you know, everything's going to be put on the forefront. Like I'm getting to a point, like I'm not even going to call it Facebook no more. I'm just going to call it meta, because that serves a futuristic purpose. People think that we're not altering and shifting the planet. That's evidence right there. Whenever you got a whole platform switch their sign to the alleged number 8 symbol, when we was breaking down on number 8 over a year ago, the loop process. Now they're just putting it in your face because they have no choice. They have no choice. This is what we're moving to. That's why you got to have a sharper perspective on what's going on around you, right? Keeping your head straight and swivel. You notice when you're out and about, and when somebody talks to you and you just look straight, you notice that nothing really happens. But as soon as you turn around and acknowledge that person, I'll give you an example. I just saw this on the internet. I'm subscribed. Y'all can subscribe to this. He's a white dude, but the reason why I'm subscribed to him on YouTube is because he deals with self-protection stuff. And these is real situations, real videos. I just saw this 2 days ago. It was a brother in New York. I think they were in the Bronx, right? He had yellow on. The other brother was standing at the door. He had black on, but he had a mask on his face. Because, you know, the COVID stuff. So, you know, a lot of cats that's on grimy stuff, they're wearing a whole mask and stuff. Because you already know. This is the point I'm making, right? The guy that had the black on says something to the other brother that had the yellow on, right? So instead of him just walking in the store and ignoring him and going about his business, he says something to him. And then the guy that was wearing black, one other guy came out wearing black. I guess they were buddies. He seen that they had an altercation. The other guy that just came out the store says something to him. And all of a sudden he said something back to him. So the guy that just came out the store punched him in the face. So the guy in the yellow went in his jacket, pulled out his gun and was about to cock it. The first guy he was talking to, by the time he pulled it out and cocked it, he already had his gun out. Boom, shot him in the head, killed him instantly. And see, this is the point I'm making. If he would have just ignored that situation, walked into the store, grabbed his little, whatever he was grabbing, and then he might have said something to him when he had left. And then, you know, you keep your head straight, you know, because that energy, just when your head's on a swivel, that circle process, that meta process, when your head's on a swivel like that for no really intentional reason, that the whole point I'm making is that situation could have been avoided. But see, dealing with emotional, because he didn't have a sharp perspective. He didn't know how to manipulate that situation where he didn't get shot in his head. See, manipulating the situation, being futuristic and knowing the situation, always scanning people, because the scanning process is real. And that's why when you keep your head straight, you got a better chance of stuff not happening to you if it's on a swivel.
Yep. So that's why we got to have our head straight, our mind straight, and like I said, our minds moving forward. That's why we're in our right minds moving forward, because everything is moving to the right. Down, especially if we're on a timeline, time is moving to the right, not going backwards. It's not going left, but it's going right. So a sharper perspective on the future ultimately, again, like we've been saying, it's ultimately what we've been, what you say, experiencing more so every day, because every day brings forth a sharper perspective or a next experience for us to, what you say, keep on traversing mind, body, and soul into the next dimensions, constantly pulling from the next dimensions, and, you know, what you say, moving forward on that one frequency, because again, we're not worried about everybody else and, you know, all of their pitfalls and everything else that's not about the future, because anything that is not talking about the future, then again, we go on standby. Our minds go on standby, and again, that's when we just stop talking and stop giving energy to the whole situation. Because again, it's like that frequency, those ELFs that people try to bring around us. Ultimately, again, we just move past that. Because again, people who are in ELFs are constantly looping or constantly stagnant, and again, they're mentally caught up with the meta, constantly being looped by entertainment, anything that can entertain your mental, and formulate your mental by way of for information, and not allow you to extend forward off your own natural intelligence. Yeah, that becomes a problem, because again, it becomes a parasitic relationship when it comes to you having to, entangle your mind, body, and soul with that information. So again, we bring forth the Next Nuclear Radio Show, and bring forth these next nuclear ideas and conversations. So moving forward, a sharper perspective on the future is very, very prevalent for us ones walking with ones, because again, we see this. We see that this is the only way for the world to move forward, for the next generation that is created or brought forth by us to move forward. That's why, again, we don't have time for foolishness, time for any games. No, we're here to, again, bring forth intelligence, bring forth the conversation, bring forth the evolutionary ideas to inspire, spark, activate, and extend our people of the 200 rising. Those future ones that come over here, or those future ones that come after us, that again continuously extend the frequency, or again, as we pass that torch to them, they're gonna basically extend forward beyond what we have here. Again, beyond what we already have here. And what we already have here so far is enough. It's enough as it is, but there's still so much more to tap into, that again, we applaud the next ones after us. We applaud the next ones that we would say more so eager on connecting with other ones, because again, we know that the power that we bring forth as ones is only going to shift things into a hyperactive state here on the planet, within our souls, within that solar tree that we have come together. So yes, our sharper perspective, as a collective council, again, bringing forth, placing judgment on everything down here in the third dimension, because again, we place judgment on ourselves when we're catering, or when we try to cater, or when we caught up in our ways, trying to, what you say, adapt to be around other people here on the lower frequency. So we moved past all of that, and we've, again, eliminated all of that lower stagnant energy by coming into counseling. That's why schools have counselors, because again, they want to put the kids who are troublesome and again doing the meta or going through cycles and ciphers mentally and physically, they want to put them back on the right course. They want to put them back in alignment. So that's why you have the counselor, and we are counseling, or as a collective of counselors, basically moving forward. So with that being said, again, that's why, again, the council is the only thing to move things forward, because again, we can all come together, share our ideas, and extend, and what you say, utilize that collective council to, again, air, put what we've been pulling in out on the table, and see how we can say move forward by that.
Yeah, and that's why they don't push council. If they don't push council, they push everything else, but they don't push council because they know the power of that. Now go back to I said this in the video. Go back to that movie, The Second 300. I think it was The Rise of the Spartans or something like that. And then you notice the queen, when the queen really didn't know what to do, because King Leonidas had got killed. So the king was dead. The queen didn't know what to do. She went to the council. This ain't nothing new, man. They took that. Who do you think taught them that? Who do you think taught them about the council? That's why they don't never push that. But they push it all the time when they're dealing with corporations, when they're dealing with record labels, when they're dealing with, even if you go to, don't quote me on this, but I think Rockefeller Records, dealing with Jay-Z, they got a council. He's not just calling the shots and doing everything himself. He might have a say-so, one of the last good say-sos, but because they understand the power of multiple minds. And it's always going to be like this. Go back to the movie The Matrix. I think it was 3 or 4. I'm not sure. But what happened when the cyborgs was about to invade? Who did they go to? They went to the council. This already been here. It's just that they don't push this because that's where the power is at. That's the true power. Why do you think these people that's on the internet that's teaching and they not stressing that? Because they don't see it as power. They just see it as, majority of them just see it as money. The money, but money's not power. You could take all the money in the African American, so-called African American community. You could take all that money, put it in one pot, and they still ain't gonna have no power because they're not altering and shifting people's mindsets. They're not altering and shifting the mind. That's power. That's power. Power only strength. When you have money and numbers, that's strength. Power is actually manipulating each situation that you're given. You manipulate it for the future, for your future children, to keep them moving forward mentally. And see, that's why, and it's so sad, Zerez, man, because that's why teachers don't come over here. Everybody on the internet, man, they done took a couple of our stuff and did stuff on it, live broad streams, this and that, but they never say where the source is at because they know where the source is at. They know where it's at. It's just that when you outshine people, right, some people feel a certain way about that. That's that ego. That's that ego. And that's that, just like, when it's called, well, what do they call it on the street? What do they call it? They call it a hater. Oh, he got more money than me, or he got, more women than me, this and that. And then they feel some type of way towards that individual because, they either have an ego trip or they either have a mental illness that they don't know how to work on. And then, they might try to counteract off of what you got or what you know and what you think. It's the same thing dealing with the internet, dealing with these teachers, because when you're dealing with, I said this in the last lives, I said, all right, if every teacher was to drop everything that they did and came over here, dropped everything they did, came over here and the reset, because this is the reset's happening. It's going back to the A's the one. This whole planet was shifting 11 minutes.
Yep. 11 minutes. Ones walking for ones, walking for ones, walking for ones. Because again, that's the new frequency on the planet, that one frequency. And again,
I mean to cut you off, brother. I mean to cut you off, but I gotta say this because that's the reason why. See, people talk that stuff about the planet shifting, about why is the so-called African American black race the way it is, this and that. But then when you give them the solution, they still don't come over here with. They still deny the solution because you know why? Because there's still subconscious agents in their mind. Because you got subconscious agents and you got agents that know what they're doing. You got both out here, and see that's the reason why we're not even worried about what they doing no more, because we understand all that. Because when you're dealing with futuristic souls, we understand all that. You know what I'm saying? Because they already know where it's at. They don't want to come over here. That's their loss. That's going to be their children's loss, and that's going to be their generational loss.
Yep, because again, they want to complain about, the problems in society and of the African American community or the golden race or whatnot. But then again, the solution is counseling. We all need counseling, or again, being a part of the council. Again, that's why, again, those counselors, like I was saying before, in schools, they were there to try to put people who needed that counseling, but they needed the most the counseling to put them back on track or to move them, forward on a one frequency or a frequency that, will keep them moving forward in that straight line. And that's why we're constantly in solar alignment, solar involvement.
Right. And then I just want to say this, because I told you about this already, Zerez. It's so funny because this guy he's like super wealthy. He's rich. He's from Minnesota. He owns like two malls up here. And one of his malls, it was like really condensed. His parking lot wasn't big. Like a lot of people wanted to go there and go shopping. Right. So what the city do? The city made him come. The city made him come to the council. Now, remind you, this dude is probably close to a billionaire, but I know he's in 100 millions. He's in 100 millions. He owns a shopping mall, so I know he's probably in 100 millions, right? But that's why I told you it's not about money, because he probably wasn't even in Minnesota. He was probably like, Miami, California, New York or something, Bahamas or something. And then he got that memo. Yeah, you need to be here on this date at this time, or we'll shut your mall down. Right? That's the whole point. It's not about money. It's always been about mind power, and it's always been about the council.
Yep, it's always been about the council, and that's why again we as the solar activated council, and we're not calling ourselves the galactic council, because again we're moving past that, because we're all dealing with the soul, moving forward off that one frequency and being on one accord. And again, our perspective has only become more and more sharper and way more extended, because again, we see that the council is moving things forward right now. There has been tangible, what you say, not say evidence, but we're seeing results of the council moving things forward. It's only three of us in here in U.N.O.N.C, but we've been able to move things forward on the galactical level, on a cosmic level, and even, here on the planetary level, things are moving right in front of our eyes.
Shifting the whole paradigm.
Yep, we're shifting
the whole paradigm, man. And people just gonna have to sit back and just gonna have to watch. You're gonna have to go, and the way this stuff's gonna start moving. Because what I say? I said about 8.5, 9 years left, and people gonna just start seeing it moving, man. Because there's nothing that nobody on this planet can do about it. Nothing. This is yeah. You know what I'm saying? We altered and shift the whole. We altered and shift the whole social media. Can anybody else say anybody that's out here teaching say that they can do that they shift the whole paradigm within social media? They can't say that because they're not in the future. The only way you can come in the future is to be over here, because when you're dealing with futuristic mind power, futuristic beings, like we got some videos coming out. We're going to hit y'all with a little bit of intel videos, but like the major intel stuff, man, we keep that within the council seats, because there's no reason. We go back and watch all our videos. Go back and watch all those videos dealing with intel, breaking down the word spirit, breaking down 5G, broke down what else did we break down? They just gotta go watch the videos, man, because I'm not finna go back. But see, now, because we're still receiving. See, now that we're still receiving, like the internet, that's why our number is the 11, because now that we're gonna start receiving super intel and not even putting it on the internet, that's why the internet's gonna be on pause. That's why our number is the 11, because then the internet's gonna be on pause. Why is it gonna be on pause, AF1? Because it won't be intel on there. It's gonna be you're gonna have intel, medium intel, super intel. The super intel is not going to be on social media. It pretty much ain't even on there now. So that's what I'm saying, like putting the internet on pause, while everybody's still talking about whatever they talk about, whatever folks they both going backwards, talking about these old dusty books in the libraries where the lies are buried. That's why I said, man, they need to call it the lie truth berry. They might as well just call it the lie truth berry. Because when they put these words out here, man, I told you, you got the Webster dictionary, and then you got a stealth definition. What is the code? It's just the same way, like when you're dealing with these people right now, when they walk around in codes, these people running the planet, they speak in codes, they do code handshakes, they do this. The words have been like that too. But now we back from the future, breaking everything down, because everything was put in everybody's face for a reason. Because that's just an inside joke. When you do stuff like that, that's an inside joke. So when you in these little places where they're like drinking tea and everybody's suited, booted, and bougie and stuff, and they might start laughing, and you're like, what's funny? It's because you don't even know what the code was. You know what I mean? Because you're not activated. So you don't know what they're laughing at, but they'll laugh at a certain word they say that you didn't catch. You thinking that word means I'm just giving you an example. You think of that word means watermelon, and actually watermelon means something else to them. That's why they start laughing at y'all, man. And especially y'all cats that actually sit down at the table with these people, and you're like, why is he laughing? We know why they laughing, because it's funny, man. Because they speaking in code on you. That's all they do it. And you're like, that's not funny, man. I don't even know why they laughing, because you chose to deal with that. So now you got to deal with it.
That's why we are uncoding what you say, this intel that's coming down from the upper and outer dimensions and from our sun, and we've been able to uncode numerology and all these other what you say so-called theories and humanitarianist ideas that ultimately keep you looping and can keep your mind in that stagnant frame of what you say operating. When we say that we're on standby in this world, it's because again we know that there is that what you say 9 times out of 10 when we're going into like the so-called regular world, these people are only going to they're not going to be really saying anything. They won't be able to, what you say, bring forth a next conversation, or would you say really be purposeful, because again, they're the regular people. So in these times we move forward past all of that basically requires us to be around those people. That's why we counsel. We coming into a council, we avoid all of the, would you say, regular, all of that stuff that has nothing to do with moving the planet forward. Because again, we can keep on talking to people about moving forward and being a part of the collective. But again, only the real ones who are supposed to be over here will be over here. Go ahead, brother F1.
Yeah, their processors burnt out. Their mind's working. It's just like a computer. When you got your computer, you're like, damn, my processor's burnt out, or my processor's not. It's not processing everything. It's on, but it's not. They can't process it. Man, having a conversation with a regular. When you have a conversation with a regular, it actually like your mind goes on standby, because the conversation with a regular, you got to keep it. You got eat. Okay, if you're in society and you're talking to a regular, you got to literally keep it at a minimum, because if you start going too far, they can't process. Even if they agree with you, the only reason why they agree with you is because they know that what you're talking actually makes sense. But then their processor can't process it. So then they just go back and they go back to their regular ways. That's why we call them regulars, because that's what they do. They work, shit, they eat, they have sex, but when you start talking about futuristic stuff, their processor is not activated, so they can't process this stuff. They can't take it and put it in their daily life. They can't take it. And one of the reasons why is because a lot of people still stuck. They still stuck. They're still stuck on what the spouse think. Care about what their family think. They wanna live up to something. They want to live up to something. And when people say, I was on the internet, I think yesterday, and there was a post said, hey, shout out to all the black sheeps of the family. And, how y'all doing or something, everybody said thumbs up or something. If you, I'm like, okay, the black sheep. It's just, well, what are you a black sheep of? Because I understand what that means, but I'm saying, what are you a black sheep of? If you're just a loner, or if you got a mental illness, because a lot of people that got mental illness on like a 3, 4, 5, 6, then they consider themselves the black sheep, because for one, you have mental illness. Now, if you had a 3, 4, 5, 6, then your best bet is either to find somebody activated, or if you want to be in society and want to be you know, a stand-up citizen, go see a psychiatrist, because there's when you're dealing with that term, black sheep is just basically somebody who doesn't fit in society. That doesn't mean that you're chosen. It doesn't mean that you're activated. That doesn't mean nothing. It just means that you're the black sheep. You separated from everybody because you're on a different mind frame, and it could still be a past mind frame. You could still be on the past and be a black sheep. So that doesn't even really matter, because what are you a black sheep of? Just using that terminology. Are you going to move forward to the future? Or are you just going to be just existing? whatever floats your boat, doesn't matter, because we're going to keep moving forward regardless. But using all this stuff as an example to see how people, because we already know how people think, on how what their mind is, because that's why I always go back to organic cyborgs, because when you're dealing with anything a cyborg can do, or organic body can do also. I'm talking about mind acceleration. I'm not talking about lifting, a 16-wheeler, because everybody goes back to what? Money, physical realm. It's never been about that. That's why I said, man, when that guy had to sit his $100 million ass down in front of that council, that's the power.
Yep. The power in the council. And that's why, moving forward, that's why, the council is only going to continuously move things forward right before your very own eyes, for the ones out there who think we're bullshitting. But yeah, we're going to keep moving things right in front of your eyes. And every time that you see that 11, the pause button, the hashtag, the dad, all dealing with the ones, walking with the ones, or the ones connecting and extending by way of solargy. So, and like you were saying before, like we were saying before, we moved past the number 10, or being up to 10, ones dealing with zeros, because again, we see that as extended ones, or future ones, future beings, that, all those zeros, and the thing is, this isn't to offend anybody, but we understand and understand that we all have a purpose here. And unfortunately, certain people have purposes just to be filler, or just background noise, while there are other ones who are going to rise to the forefront, or the fourth format, and extend my body and soul to that fourth format. And again, keep extending and keep growing and keep, what you say, graduating past, like we said, graduating past for sensei, graduating past for teacher and student mentality. And again, moving forward past, again, all that, again, requires you to, or doesn't allow you to, what you say, move forward by way of your own natural intelligence. Or again, you're up there, you're not catering to I would say, you're not catering to your own mental evolution. You're allowing somebody else to, be responsible for your evolution. That's why, again, we are responsible for our own evolution as activated mind, body, soul, because again, we're not putting any trust and putting any beliefs. We're not believing in the belief systems of this world, or any world. We're just moving forward off the natural intelligence, that one frequency, that one structure, dealing with the natural intelligence, or that so-called intel system, or other people call it just it's intelligence, but it's intelligence to the fact that, again, we look intelligence and we see things beyond this place, which is all dealing with information and all the things to keep you stagnant. So everything that's intelligence can keep growing, can keep expanding. It will always expand and keep growing, as we are those energies, as we are those eternal flames that will keep burning. And again, we're passing on the torch. We're passing the torch, passing the way of intel down through our children and their children's children, and so forth. So as we begin to move forward, again, this is the Next Week Radio Show, and again, this intel is brought to you by our higher selves, set in the upper dimensions as multidimensional light activated projections moving forward. So again, this is the Next Week Radio Show, bringing forth next week ideas and perspectives, next week ideas and conversations to the forefront to raise and rise the mind, bodies, and souls of the future two and rising, and the future ones walking with ones moving forward. So brother AF1, if you want to add on more, go ahead.
We're just going back to the topic, a sharper perspective. The sharper perspective, especially on the future. Just look around. Especially, I don't even care where you live at. You can live in the suburbs. You can live in the hood. Go outside and actually just look around. Go to your nearest Walmart. Go to your nearest Walmart. Go to your nearest convenience store, grocery store, and actually just look at these people that's around. You can have that life. You can look at them from eye level. From standing on the crust of the planet, you can look at them there from eye level, or you can look at them from a higher perspective. Because the higher perspective means that you're not around them no more. And Zareyas know what I'm talking about. You're not around them anymore. And what is that? Once you can separate yourselves from these regular people, that's why we always say peace. What is peace? That's peace. When you can separate yourself and don't have to deal with them no more. That's the true peace. And then after you do that, everything else will come into alignment. That's peace. People say peace a lot, but they don't know. When they say peace, they don't really know that when you saying that stuff, you have to be really building on that. Because there is no peace in these regular neighborhoods. You could be in the suburbs or you could be in the hood. There's no peace. I don't care what nobody says, there is no peace. Just because you can sit in your house and you got a low crime rate, just because you can sit in your house and you got a low crime rate in the suburbs, there is no peace. Because when you go outside, you got to deal with the person across the street, that person over there, the people at the store, this and that, and you got to put on this fake front so you can feel a part of your community, and you really don't, you feel comfortable, but you still don't have that soul lit. You know why? Because you're putting on what they call that, the acting system, where you're just acting because you want to keep your neighborhood quiet and less crime. But do you really have peace though? I just want to close out with that. Peace, power, and soul. And we got some live. I mean, not live. I got some videos coming out. I have some technical issues with my videos, but hopefully I'll put one out tomorrow. Be some intel videos, but I'm gonna close out with that, man. Do you really have peace? Do these people really have peace when you are around regular people, consistent basis, in the neighborhood, in the hood, in the ghetto, and in the suburbs? Do you really have peace? You might be relaxed. You might be comfortable. But to have peace is to be away from these people and actually be able to build your own foundation, your own structure to move people forward.
Yep. And that was Brother AF1. Wonderful breakup, Brother AF1. Check him out on his channel, Futurtarians Activation Channel. Again, Futurtarians Activation Channel one more time, because we are ones walking with ones. Futurtarians Activation Channel. Check him out on Facebook as well. AF1 Futurtarian. That is AFONE. Again, AFONE. Futurtarian on Facebook and on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok, all over. Again, this is the Next Radio Show. U.N.O.N.C. Futurtarians moving forward. So again, we bring forth the Next Radio Show to bring forth Next ideas, conversations, and alignment to focus on the future. So again, today's topic was a sharper perspective on future. Again, a sharper perspective on the future moving forward. So with that being said, we're going to keep extending the mind, bodies, and souls of our people, of the ones walking the ones in the future, and currently who will come and again charge and be hyper activated with us by way of aligning their mind, bodies, and souls with the one frequency. So again, we'll be going live next this coming Saturday at same time as usual, 6:30 p.m. PST and 8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. CST. So again, 6:30 p.m. PST and 8:30 p.m. CST. So again, we're going live on PodBean next Saturday. So check us out, tap in with us. Again, we are Futurtarians moving forward, U.N.O.N.C. And again, this is the Next Radio Show. Peace, power, soul, activation to you all Futurtarians, near and far. So with that being said, we are up, outer, and beyond. Peace.